40,000 wild horses used to roam across the prairies, but the numbers are slowly dwindling because of the increased amount of horses captured. To increase efficiency, people have been using weapons, snares, and even vehicles to round these animals up. Many activists in the area are lobbying for the protection of these wild horses and allowing them to have complete free rein. Horses are one of man's loyal creatures and aided us with our journey to settlement and evolution. They have always been there, whether it's to help us with our fields or our hearts. Millions of people around the world love and live for horses, yet we treat them like meat. Horses have been with us through wars and more, but we cannot even respect them enough to let them live freely without being chased and abused.
Watch these wild horses being chased by helicopters, rounded up, forced into captivity, sometimes collapsing from exhaustion, and animal rights groups call it cruel and
Activists are outraged by the actions taken by the government, or more appropriately, the lack of actions taken. Wild horses and burros in the States are corralled by helicopters, then chased into smaller and smaller pens until they enter a trailer, where their future will be decided.
AM Original, the story that we've been telling you guys about is the plight of these wild Mustangs in the Great American West. These days, they're not running free. In fact, they're actually running from the federal government.
That's right. They're being rounded up by the thousands, the Federal Bureau of Land Management using helicopters to chase the herds and corral them. And that has animal rights activists very angry about that.
Being captured is not the only issue these horses must face. Recently, many wild horses have been shot. Why? We are not sure, but it is not right to flaunt the idea that we can treat them as we like. 29 horses have been shot in Alberta since 2002. This is not including the number of horses that were shot and not found. The most recent shooting was in central Alberta, where 3 horses were shot, a pregnant mare and her yearling colt, along with another young stud. The colt was shot and continued to run 100 feet before collapsing. The stud was shot in the stomach, causing a long and painful death, as when it collapsed, its head got stuck between 2 trees. The pregnant mare was also shot, and soon after went into labor, causing 4 horses to die in total. The Alberta government has a lack of understanding as to what the wild horses mean and how to handle them. The few actions they have taken leave activists with a feeling of dismay. The wild horses capture is reliant on the horse capture regulation, where the safety of the horses is cloudy. Many horses are still corralled using weapons and are shot, and in most cases, charges are not laid. Even if the capture is done correctly, the horse is at that person's disposal. Many of these horses are indigenous to this area and are a huge part of our heritage. Governments should take bigger actions towards their freedom by banning their capture completely.
Is that the wild horses should not be rounded up at all. Hence the word wild.
The government defends themselves by saying that the land given to the horses is not able to sustain a larger herd.
We can't let one, say the horse, impact everybody else by taking all the feed, all the water, do damage to that habitat.
The government states that they have control over the horses in certain parts of Alberta. If the horses threaten the range, wildlife habitat, and forest regeneration, then the government can issue licenses for the capturing of horses.
The BLM insists it must reduce herd sizes because the land can't support the numbers. This ain't Kentucky bluegrass. So it holds roundups. This year, the goal, remove 12 12,000 horses. That's right, 12,000. Nearly 40,000 horses and burros roaming on 26 million acres of the West. But while this federal land, your land, was set aside for the horses, they don't have free rein. The land is considered multi-use.
Wildlife, livestock, recreationists, mining interests, whatever.
Rounding up the wild horses helps prevent overpopulation and helps keep the ecosystem healthy. The real issue is how the roundups are being executed. Horses are extremely sensitive, and any mistreatment they receive can stay with them forever. Changing environments and expectations can make them sick and squeaky. In the United States, the animals are chased by helicopters, and this year will be reducing their numbers by 12,000. This massive change in numbers will have a huge impact on the horses and how they live. This issue has become widespread among the media and activists. Many people want the horses to be left alone, while others support the roundups. Associations such as WHOS, which stands for Wild Horses of Alberta Society, are trying to stand up to the government and speak for the wild horses, who will otherwise have to sit back and let the government steal their freedom.
This is our land. We want the horses on here. It's out here. You hear it all the time. A cowboy will say, the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man.